go ahead and take you through another example of an activity that you can do that relates to culture. Once again, I'm going to use a screencast because I think it's the best way to capture the essence of the presentation that I'm going to give you. This activity is actually based off of a comment I saw in our forum post this week. Danica was posting about using art and trying to make lessons multimodal, so incorporating, different forms of communication besides just reading or looking at literature on a page. So this activity is going to be a way that students can get involved with writing, but also how they can think of how they view culture and how maybe their culture views them. So this is going to be an activity that asks students to look at photographs that might represent Iowa. From there, they're going to discuss what the photographs actually mean to them and how they play into their experiences as new Iowans. So I would do this activity for lower middle school or elementary students even, maybe even high school students who are just starting to practice their writing and using critical thinking skills. I actually decided to tailor this if I were to use this in an ESL classroom in the Des Moines School District. Des Moines has one of the highest per capita rates of refugees in the United States, just because there is a high volume of them that are welcomed into Iowa. So I was just thinking of that and keeping that in mind as I made this presentation. How would refugees perceive Iowa? What do certain symbols mean to them? And I think this is a good learning experience for the teacher as well. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of the photographs that I have here to show you how you can use them with the students. Alright, so symbols and Iowa. So today what I'm going to ask you to do is to take out one piece of paper, and I'm going to show you a couple of different photographs. I'm going to ask you to think about what that photograph means to you, as well as what that photograph might mean for Iowa as a whole. How does that photograph really represent your idea of Iowa, or what you have experienced so far with Iowa culture? So the first one is kind of cliche, but we have a lot of farms in Iowa. So looking at this photograph, what does it mean to you personally? What experience do you have with this Iowa symbol, and how does this play into your knowledge of Iowa's culture? So I'm trying to keep this a very broad questioning system, open-ended questions, task-based learning, so that students have a chance to use their creativity and also cater the questions to the answers that they would like to give, because I think they can get more out of it that way. So they would do that for probably 10 minutes or so, giving plenty of time for each, especially if these are fresh writers who are just starting to go through the process of writing on their toes and thinking on their toes. So this next photograph is a famous Des Moines sculpture called the Nomad. Why do you think this sculpture plays into the idea of Iowa? How does it play into your place in Iowa, and how does it play into what you know and believe about Des Moines as a city? This was actually created as a representation of immigration and brought into Iowa because of the high volume of refugees that we have. So I think this is a really good sculpture to have students either visit or talk about in the classroom, and that's why I incorporated it into this activity. Next, having them read this visual, "The people of Iowa welcome you. Iowa Fields of Opportunities." So what does that mean to you? What does fields of opportunities mean to you as a student? What is your perception of this idea of Iowa being welcoming and having fields of opportunities? Is it true? Is it false? Why do you think so? Next, a look at the diversity of Des Moines. So this is just a photograph that shows some of the different components of the downtown urban area where students might have been or might have experienced. So this can just give them an idea better of what their city symbolizes and how they really feel about the city where they are living, how it plays into their American ideals or ideas about American culture. Just because Iowa is vastly different from other parts of the United States in terms of culture, I think it's good for students to have a grasp, especially on where they live. So that's just a small idea of what you can do, and having students look at symbols and interpreting them in their own ways in a multimodal process that allows them to use their creativity, but also think about how their lived experiences fit into their literacy. So I hope that this presentation has been helpful, and I hope it gives you, at least a rough outline of an activity that you could do with young students to encourage writing and creativity and higher order thinking skills. Have a great Tuesday evening.